This is my manga Digman about an underground kingdom that's trying to find the surface. And this is the prestigious Voice.me competition. Yep, that's me. You might be wondering how I got into this situation. It all started near the end of 2021, where I thought of this really cool image with a bunch of buildings hanging from the ceiling. Kinda. This was more of a passive thought. I started drawing around this time, and I really did think it would look cool. What really made it start was this book I was reading called Yami, and you can definitely tell I was a sophomore in high school when I wrote this. All right, let's read a quick paragraph. Why did you do that to them? Yua said while slowly standing. My pets don't like it already. Why did you do that to them? Yua said while slowly standing back up. Yua, stop! Hiro exclaimed. Yua, don't do something stupid! I yelled in succession, but there's not an exclamation point. Yua gave them both a violent glare, and they tensed up as well. Yua charged at them once again, but this time, she wasn't so fortunate. The same man that maneuvered around her attack last time did the same thing, but the other man wasn't as patient. He reached for an axe laying against the door and swung it right at her neck. The blade made direct contact with her neck. It was so dull, it didn't go all the way through. Yua's eyes suddenly got bigger, due to the blood violently splurting out of her neck as though some child covered the end of a hose with her pinky. She lied there, tragically squirming around and yelling, Please, just kill me! I can't handle the pain anymore of this! You take me out of my misery! Before anyone can answer, she was dead. Mercilessly, tragically, hopelessly, and thoughtlessly. Dead. Hero screamed. Okay, I just edited on some parts. This is the original. Either way, it was horseshit. So anyway, there was one moment in the story much later on that I wanted to draw just for fun, out of passion. So I began painting the scene of a stoic lone survivor looking from a cliff's edge at the destruction of his village, everything he had ever known. In that moment, I knew I was meant to make manga. With a little more practice. So while I was watching Fighting Spirit, less commonly known as Hajime no Ippo, I would hone my skills. Not working towards some big goal of making a manga with that idea in the back of my mind, I was mostly just trying to have fun and just get a little better at drawing. And despite what these drawings you're seeing may lead you to believe, I was slowly improving. I hope so, at least. I did learn about perspective and made this fairly cool unfinished drawing, though this time while watching Ghost Files, uncommonly known as Yu Yu Hakusho. Then eventually, in July of 2022, there was some unexpected sale on Amazon for a drawing tablet, the XP Pen Artist 13.3 Pro, the one I still use to this day. And I just bought on a whim. It was completely impulsive. And after I bought it, I dropped this banger. Traced this picture of Mike from Breaking Bad, thought it looked sick, and was like, I can be a professional mangaka now. But then the question became, what do I make? It was then I stared into infinity itself, overwhelmed by all the possibilities, all the ideas. Like standing beneath a waterfall made of stars, every splash, every drop represented an entire universe I could explore. But alas, I was left breathless, struggling to grasp onto a single one. Those upside down buildings were pretty cool.
And alas, it was like catching a firefly amidst the darkness!
Okay, so I decided to make a story underground with buildings coming from the ceiling. Congratulations, me. I dragged that out for about many seconds longer than I should have. So I scripted the manga a few times. Fun fact, this is the storyboard. Initially, Gray and Chris were best friends, which if you read the first chapter is a very different dynamic. And they were also best friends with this other dude named Rocky. Rocky does not fucking exist anymore because there's no reason for him to exist. I don't know why he was there. Then I started drawing the first page. Yeah, it was rather unfortunate, and pretty soon I learned the importance of storyboarding because while I was making the next few pages, I didn't know how I was going to fit all the pages the way I wanted to, so I came up with an incredible, innovative solution. Fuck this flashback, I'll finish it later. I'm going to draw some mid-concept art and then just make the next few pages and actually storyboard this time. I made half of this page and somehow thought I cooked, like Gordon Ramsay type shit. Then I started making the second page when the truth finally settled in. I'm the god! I'm horrible. I'm terrible. So I quit for a few days, then I remembered quitting's for pussies and decided I would return to Digman once my skills improved. So I came up with the manga. I'm not gonna delve too deep into this, even though I made it for 10 months. 10 months? That felt like 2 years. Hang on. After some more research, I don't know what I was taking when I wrote the script, because it was actually a year and a half. So, real quick, it was about a world where God would give people blessings and curses. Lennis was blessed with overwhelming power, and he was thus given the worst curse: baldness. Over the course of the story, he's going to embark on his journey to take his revenge on God for making him bald. But this little cactus dude who can light on fire. And for as rough around the edges as it was, I feel like it had a lot of character. And someone actually liked it, even making fan art. And their profile picture on TikTok was one of my characters. I see edits. I will never forget you. Legitimately. By the way, this character from Bald Boy is like my favorite character of all time, and I want to make Bald Boy just to finish his character arc. Maybe one day. Okay, I've decided I'm going to talk about Barry. Barry is a grown-ass dude who is the leader of a rapping cactus farm. When Spicy Cactus destroys the farm, Barry kidnaps Spicy Cactus away from Lennis. Lennis, while saving Spicy Cactus, enslaves Barry. In reality, Barry never cared about rapping or cacti. He just wanted to be a poet. Well, he didn't for some reason. I can't remember. So that's Barry. He kind of just gets emotionally and physically harassed by Lennis. And I think that shit's really funny for some reason. Reminds me of another character I quite like. And I just realized I talked more about Bald Boy than Digman. So all you need to know is that this was the first chapter. And this was the last. And it was all opaque. So I started scripting the new revised Digman. Thank God, because the old one was cancer causing, as I alluded to earlier. And I say started dubiously because I didn't stop scripting for 5 months. When I was making Bald Boy, I learned I like having a very good idea as to where the story is going, so I can throw in some foreshadowing and stuff like that. So I scripted 1/4 or 50 chapters of the entire manga. Digman, assuming nothing changes, which I don't think this will, is split up into 4 sagas. I wrote the first saga pretty much in its entirety. I have a very good idea of what happens in the next one, and a decent idea of what happens in the one after that. And this one is a future me problem. I still dabble in some Bald Boy from time to time, but I made the art way simpler, so it was just more fun and quicker to draw. After scripting for 5 months, it was time to put the pen back on the paper and make my 92-page first chapter. This was gonna take a while. For reference, with Bald Boy, it would take me 3 days for 1 page-ish pre-simplification, so I love my life. Because of that, I decided to simplify the art stuff from what I would normally do. Instead of clean borders, I would give non-flashbacks this thicker, shaky border. I'd still try drawing anatomically decent characters and backgrounds, but I would use the semi-thick brush so there wouldn't be too much detail. I also wouldn't use screen tones for anything besides shading, nor would I use the line straightening tools to save time and capture a rough vibe. And it turned out like horseshit. On this page, I actually liked that on some pages. I thought it looked aesthetically pleasing. I also simplified Gray, the main character, from some of the concept art I made, which I drew well while scripting for 5 months. His hair and neck size took massive blows as I simplified his hair to 5 fluffs that I hate with a passion. I want to cry every time I see them. My friend made this meme, which is pretty rad, pretty sensational. But why couldn't he have used a post 5 fluff era graph? This art style change helped me make pages a lot faster. 1 page would take 1 to 2 days. Sometimes I could do like 2.5 pages in a day. So I kept this up until page 32, because then I underwent some. No comment. Never mind, I actually thought about something I want to talk about here. So as IRL Character Development implies, I was quite sad, some would say, right? My solution to this problem was, if I'm sad, I might as well do some cool shit. So in 9 days, I made a 45-page one-shot. I just realized how crazy that time frame is. It's called Light the Match, pouring all of my feelings or whatever the hell that is into it. And I liked how it turned out. I'm very proud of it. The art was, it had room to be desired, but I was fucking cranking this shit out because I just want to get to the cathartic part. And when I did, that was pretty lit. The art was sick as fuck, though. I feel like it did a good way of highlighting the light, I guess. Making this is what made me realize I love art in which the author is authentically themselves and puts a lot of themselves into the work, like I did with this one. And so, I decided I was going to do the same with Digman. But then I realized I had already did that, just subconsciously. So then I just changed one character dynamic to project myself onto and called it a day. So I made a grandiose return to Digman. Art was still mid though. But I decided I wanted to start making it look a little better and clean the art style up a bit. I started using the tools in the art program a lot more, which made straight lines easy again, especially in perspective. And oh, I just remembered something. Remember this page? Well, one of the reasons it's so bad is that I refused to use any digital tools to maintain 100% of my artistic integrity. Now I could kind of see where I was coming from in terms of maybe like using AI or just tracing a bunch of shit. But I wouldn't use the straight line tool. I wouldn't even use any references. I thought that was cheating. Which, considering now, I always use straight line adjacent tools and a reference for literally every single panel, things changed drastically. I lessened the border thickness and just put more care into the drawings, which is represented by this panel. This was one of the turning points. Here still has 5 stupid fluffs though. I gotta draw a fight scene, which was really fun, and I really stepped up my game from when comparing these pages to older pages. I didn't draw any fight scene in a very long time. In fact, I'd ever only drawn 3 in Bald Boy. This one was, well, you can look at it. And this one looks decent. This page is also 2/3 of the entire fight scene, by the way. But I finally got rid of the fluffs! We're on page 54 now. I think now's the right time. I had no fucking idea how to draw any of these characters. I didn't know if I wanted Gray to be a twink or buff. I didn't know what the hell was going on with her here, clearly. Or just how to draw Chris in any consistent way. Which I thought I was about to say when I learned, I'm not going to. I never did. At least in chapter 1, and that's all this video is about. Except for Chris. He still looks like a different person drew him every single time. I kept improving until I hit page 68. Remade a page which really highlighted my progress, because then I flew over to the pasta-loving country of Italy, and man, I really missed the food. And the friend I was visiting, but mostly the food. But I came back to the States like a boxer after not knocking for 2 weeks. Uncaged and crazy. And then, put on steroids. When I returned, I learned of a competition being hosted by a website called Voice.me. The same website I used to upload that horrible book Yami to. I found out I could win $2,000 with a potential $5,000 bonus and a potential serialization offer. I knew it was time to step it up, and if I wasn't taking it seriously already, now I definitely was. I already made the first 8 pages, which were flashbacks that looked fucking horrible, and the dialogue and paneling, everything about those pages were horrendous, so I needed to redo it. I also wanted to make the art look good before people saw this page. If you want to go back and read the original first 8 pages, you can read them on my Patreon. They're completely free. You don't have to pay for anything. They're so bad. Then I went back to page 73 and made a huge step forward towards the art style I'm just better at. Up till this point, I tried giving Digman a roughier, grittier art style just because, for me, thematically, that's what makes the most sense. However, I am not good at it at all. As you saw in Bald Boy, I gravitate towards a much more cleaner style, and so I just started accepting that with Digman too, except I added on some hatching here and there just to make it look a little bit more rough and gritty than it really is. And the art style change was just in time too. Remember how I said I changed the script because the old one sucked? Well, the end of chapter 1 was still gold. I thought so anyway, and I kept it. And after 2 years, I was actually gonna actualize the scenes and pages I thought of so long ago, which minor spoilers coming up ahead. If you want to read it real quick, links in the description, then come back. That'd be great. But there's something so cathartic about drawing something I thought of so long ago, and every time that happens, it's just the best feeling. Like, if I could show younger me this drawing, he would shat himself. This cathartic feeling also happened with this page. In fact, I remember watching Ludwig play video games on Netflix while drawing this. The next time this happens though probably won't be till chapter 20, but I mean, that'd be pretty cool when I do. October 1st, I was finished. Mostly. As I was rereading chapter 1, I made an astute observation. In some speech bubbles, the I was capitalized, and in others, it wasn't. I had committed a crime against humanity. I decided I liked the capital line more and had to go back and fix it. But Connor, that's not too big of a deal. Yes, it is! I can't relive this. I'll let the TikTok do the explaining.
When I started making the first page of Digman all that time ago, I got done with the art. It was 2.5 years ago. Give me a break. It's time to add the text, so I clicked on the create a text tool, typed in my words, went to the transform tool to move it around, and what the hell? I remember the transform tool not working, and that being the whole reason I found my own new method. Fun fact, before I recorded the clip of the transform tool working, to my surprise, I already recorded the audio for this video, but that's in the f***ing gutter now. Despite the fact that there was apparently no reason to do so, I decided to add text to my comic the superior way, by using a whole different art program called Paint.net, type out the words, and copy and paste them in. Yeah, seems fine. However, with one typo, if I typed an entire paragraph, I typed the entire thing all over again, which when I'm done with the chapter and I'm cleaning it up, has happened a lot.
For 90 pages. For 90 goddamn pages. So then I was ready to release it when the contest started October 22nd. Then the contest never started. It was very weird, but then on the 25th or something, they announced the contest would instead take place from November to March, which I thought sucked. But I tried to look at it optimistically, and oh boy, am I glad it got moved. Ever since the contest got announced, I decided I was going to make 1 chapter a month to prove I'm reliable. So I was working my ass off. Then I got a 1-month buffer. I was able to get decent sleep again. I also made some very important changes to the first chapter. I added this significant page, like very significant page. And I also changed some dialogue to make things just a little bit better, nothing too crazy. So if it never got pushed back, I would have just had to make the changes after the chapter dropped and gaslight everyone into thinking it was always like that, which I would never do. If Stranger Things can do it, I can too. We open in a friendly-looking children's room, with a boy waiting for this man to enter. They chat, and the boy gets shown a painting of the surface. He is mesmerized. The man reminds the boy that finding the surface is the only way to fill the chasm that's inside him, and, well, whatever he is, also tells the boy that he has been chosen to find it, that if he does, he could even become a god. We come back to the present to see that same boy, Gray, emerging from a mind he has in his academy dorm room. He's written a letter to his mom, gloating about being the #1 ranked student. Moving on in the Digman program come graduation, which is tomorrow, and of the rumor that the chief of the Dig Force will be personally coming to watch him fight later this same day. Now walking into the Digman Academy of Cornerstone, Saphir is complaining to Chris about how annoying Gray is and some other stuff, when Gray suddenly shows up. He forces Gray to hand over his overdue final paper. He then just heads back to his dorm after deciding he can skip some classes. Not this one though, as he enters in the middle of class. Well, the end of class. and hands the paper to the teacher afterward. Turns out, however, Chris reveals he's been doing his work this entire time, and Gray is not happy going into gym class. Right before gym class, though, in front of the school, a plethora of employees are lined up to greet the chief of the Dig Force, Avi, and his daughter, Ren. And they are ready to watch Gray fight Saphira, which Saphira wants to win because she's never beaten Gray, and because he bullies Chris. Gray wins, but then challenges Chris to teach him a lesson, and nags him on a little bit so that he'll say yes. After Chris loses, it's revealed the chief left halfway through Gray and Saphira's fight that he has no interest in Gray, ensuring Gray won't be moving on in the Digman program. On the way to Quinspur, Ren begins asking her dad, why didn't he like Gray? After all, Gray's super strong. She doesn't fall for any of his bullshit answers, and right as Avi acknowledges his daughter's intelligence. A man appears. At the building in the middle of Cornerstone where the class will be graduating, everyone's in Digman uniform, and Gray's complaining about the meaningless ways everyone lives their lives. It's time for the ceremony to start. When Chief Avi is called up to announce the 5 students who will be moving on in the Digman program, everyone's greeted with a surprise. That's all I'm gonna say about chapter 1. I left a lot out, so if you're even a little interested, it would mean the world to me if you gave it a read. Links in description. And be sure to tell me what you think about it. And it would mean like 2 worlds if you voted for it, so I could be one of the winners of the Voice.me contest. You get 1 vote every day, so if you want, I mean 3, 4, 5 worlds. By the way, you can't vote on the Voice.me mobile app, only on the website, but it is very easy, as you can see. Thanks to all the people who said really nice things about the chapter. You're awesome. Chapter 2 is out now, by the way. I meant to release this video before that, but that did not happen. I know when my video will come out for chapter 2, but we'll see if that ever happens. So, read Digman, please. If I talked about all the stuff that actually went into making Digman, this video would have never ended. So I decided on settling for 15 minutes. And even then, that took way too long to make. Thanks to the YouTube channel Ian Roman for making a YouTube thumbnail that was just so easy to copy. I'm gonna link the video that I copied the thumbnail from in the description. If anyone wants to get into drawing, it's actually like a really good freaking video that just introduces you to the basics. Anyway, making that manga animated-ish portion was way harder than I thought it would be. Maybe hard's not the right word, but it took so long. In future videos after the animated portion, I'm going to critique the chapter. I didn't this time because I was sick of editing this video. It takes so long. For instance, with chapter 1, I would say I should have introduced the power system in this chapter. Instead, I just allude to it once, and I guess you see a crystallized pickaxe. Not that you know what that is. It's not like the person does anything with the crystallized pickaxe. Anyways, the real purpose of this part of the video was just to inflate the video length because I thought it would be cool to show some comments on the screen. But I'm done with that now.